Scary story number 20, title, Missing Person, based on true events. Story begins. I was 36 years old and I was working as a detective for the Texas Police Department for a decade. By then I've handled countless cases. Homicides, assaults, sex offenses, fraud, theft, and the occasional missing person. But nothing could have prepared me for this particular missing persons case. It wasn't just the hardest one of my career, it was the first case I couldn't solve. It all started with Jane, a 34-year-old mother arriving at her son Ryan's school in the middle of the day. She told the staff that there was a family emergency and needed to take her 6-year-old son home. From my interviews with the school staff, I wanted to understand, how had Jane seemed when she came to pick up her son? The school staff implied that something was not right with her regardless of it being a family emergency. They still let Ryan go with his mother, figuring that everything was going to be okay. But Jane never brought Ryan back to school. In fact, she and her son didn't return home at all. Instead, what followed was a trail of unusual stops that left us all questioning her intentions. After picking him up, Jane took Ryan to the zoo, then to a water park, and later began checking into hotels across the state. To add to this, I got in contact with Tim, Jane's husband, and he told me in the interview that he hadn't heard anything from Jane or Ryan, so she was avoiding contact with him. As I stated before, Jane and Ryan stayed at several different hotels. Each one they stayed at kept going farther away from home. But why? Where were they going without Tim knowing their whereabouts? I checked into the first few hotels that they were staying at, and I asked the staff if I could review the security footage while asking the staff questions about the mother and son. The hotel staff told me that they didn't sense anything wrong and that Ryan was a happy kid. They were clueless about what was happening. After this, things started to become more suspicious. I say this because in the last hotel I checked, there was only a guest ledger with Jane staying at the hotel and not Ryan. I was thinking to myself, what happened to Ryan? Why wasn't he in the guest ledger? There was one last footage of her without Ryan in the hotel room that she stayed at. By the third day since her disappearance, she was found at the last hotel I went to with her body hanging off the balcony with bed sheets wrapped around her neck. It was clear that she committed suicide. She left a note in her handwriting saying that the kid was safe, but we'll never find him because he is with people who are taking good care of him. But this still doesn't answer my question. Where the hell is Ryan? I checked with the last hotel where Jane and Ryan were both staying at, trying to find something out of the ordinary, but I found nothing. The police had access to her car, and there was blood that stained the seats, which was immediately tested. The blood was confirmed to belong to Ryan. To make things stranger, the car showed signs that it went on dirt roads in remote locations, away from cities and towns. The police conducted a search party mostly in forests, parks, and isolated areas that matched the dirt and plants that were found on Jane's car. After all of this, there was no sign of Ryan anywhere. By this time, the boy was on the news across the country, broadcasting pictures of his bright smile and innocent eyes. Ryan's face was everywhere: television, newspapers, and missing flyers. People began developing their theories about whether Ryan was dead or alive. I wanted to have hope that Ryan was alive, either still being held captive by the quote-unquote people who are taking good care of him, or he escaped. 12 years later, there was a breakthrough in the case. A young man was claiming that he was Ryan and made an escape. Unfortunately, this was a hoax, and the young man was just a lowlife who was looking for a way out of his own life. To this day, the case is still open as law enforcement refuses to close this case, still having hope that he's alive and still out there. It's been 16 years since this case was made. I'm 52 now, and I pray that one day that the real Ryan will be found and his family can finally rest. Story ends.